Welcome to tonight's meeting of the Zoning Board of Adjustment of the Township of Union, which is being held pursuant to the Open Public Meeting Law, C-231 Laws of New Jersey dated 1975. Notice of this meeting was advertised in the local source and/or the Star Ledger, the two newspapers of record, and notice has been posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building adjacent to the municipal clerk's office. Roll call.
Mr. Wiley.
Here.
Ms. Martins.
Here.
Mr. Benavenga.
Present.
Scott is absent. Mr. Johnson.
Here.
Mr. McNeil.
Here.
Mr. Graves is absent. Ms. Ricketts.
Present.
And Mr. Champion.
Here. There being a quorum present, this meeting is now declared open. Mr. Manguso, at this time, are there any communications?
There are no communications, Mr. Chairman.
Our first order of business this evening will be the adoption of a resolution for calendar number 3433 BASF Corporation located at 2655 Route 22 West, Block 3402, Lot 8. And it was for a research laboratory and outdoor storage of liquefied gas and the associated parking. Board members, you've all had a chance to read the resolution. Are there any board members who would like to comment, make changes or modifications to the resolution as it is written? Hearing none, may I have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution?
Mr. Chairman, I move that this board adopt the resolution as read and modified as accurately memorialized in the previous findings of this board.
Second the motion.
Roll call.
Mr. Wiley.
Here.
Ms. Martins. Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Mr. McNeil.
Yes.
Mr. Benavenga.
Yes.
Mr. Champion.
Yes. Continuing with tonight's meeting, our next order of business is calendar number 3436, New York SM-SA Limited Partnership, DBA, Verizon Wireless, located at 2400 Morris Avenue, Block 3911, Lot 26.
So close.
Applicant wishes to install new antennas on this building. Counselor?
Good evening, Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Jennifer Kanarick from Price Me, Shulman, and D'Arminio on behalf of what's commonly known as Verizon Wireless. I believe I recognize some of the faces from when I was here back in June of 2022. Hope everybody's having a nice summer. I also, back in 2022, filed the same application for 3 additional antennas that were never installed. I'll briefly go over and summarize the project. So Verizon is licensed by the Federal Communications Commission to provide personal wireless service. Subject property is located at 2400 Morris Avenue, also known as Block 3309-B, Lot 2. It contains an existing office building. Verizon was granted initial approval for the site back in 2003 by way of a use variance for this existing wireless facility, and then we were back in 2022 of June, as I just mentioned, for additional wireless installation. This evening, we're proposing to install 3 new antennas on the facility. The top of the building is currently at a height of 36 feet by 6 inches. There is an antenna screen on the roof of the building with the top height of 45 feet. The 3 new antennas, like the existing 9, will be placed behind and below the screen, so you will not be able to see these antennas. It should be noted again that we did obtain approval for the 3 new antennas back in 2022. They were never installed, and we're not proposing any other changes with respect to the equipment compound and location, but I'll have my engineer go into more detail on that. So what I did is I filed initially an interpretation and appeal of your zoning officer's decision based on, from when I was here back in 2022, I think I know what that result is going to be. So I have with me my team to provide testimony with respect to the application for variance relief. Let me just get this on the record. So under.
Could you just spell your last name for the minutes so she has it, please?
Oh, sure, it's Knarich.
Thank you.
No problem. So under 6409, a state or local government may not deny and shall approve any eligible facilities request for a modification of an existing wireless tower or base station that does not substantially change the physical dimensions of such tower or base station. We submit that the proposed facility is not a substantial change, and we also submit that the proposed co-location falls squarely within the New Jersey co-location law because the existing wireless facility has been granted all necessary approvals. The proposed co-location does not increase the height or width of the support structure. And finally, the proposed co-location complies with its prior approval and does not create a condition which requires additional relief relative to the New Jersey Co-location Act. I don't know, do we want to do a vote on that first?
No, I think we set this up simply as a D2, Jen.
Okay, no problem.
Because we had that rule. in the
Agreed,
past.
yeah.
I think Collier's weighed in. It really is unsophisticated in that regard. I mean, I don't want to make too little of it as a D2, but
I understand completely.
based on our protocol.
I don't want to
we handled
reinvent
it
the
this
wheel.
way. We wanted to get the property owners to get their listing. It seems like just your team is here tonight.
Exactly, yeah, these are all with
So,
me.
I mean, I marked A1, your submission, which was the application with supporting
Okay.
checklist items. I marked A2, the site plan, which I think was comprised of 13 pages.
Correct.
Network Connects, I think he dated it May 2nd, 2024. So just to expand on what it is, the adjustments at the site.
Sure.
I think would do it. I mean, I'm not
Yeah,
telling you how to run
I'll-
your case, but the interpretation issue. I
Yep,
don't
of
think we need to
course.
spend
I
time
just
on.
wanted to preserve it for the record.
Absolutely. And I so note that for the record, and we'll make sure it is included.
Wonderful, thank you. So if, without any further ado, I can put up my first witness. Do you have those on? Okay, okay. They have copies too from the submission. Have them over there? Yeah, why don't you set up right over here? The other side, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna need the mic too. Thank you.
Good evening. Can I just ask you to swear or affirm that the testimony you provide this evening is the truth and the whole truth?
Yes.
And for the record, just state and spell your name with your business affiliation.
My name is Jacob Minardi, and that's spelled Minardi, and I'm with Network Connects.
Jacob, J-A-C-O-B.
Correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Minardi, will you please provide the board with the benefit of your qualifications and experience for the record?
Yes, sure. I've been working with Network Connects for close to 11 years in telecommunications installations. I have a bachelor's degree in civil engineering through Rutgers University in New Brunswick.
We'll accept his credentials.
Thank you very much. And you prepared the site plan that you'll be presenting this evening, your firm?
Correct.
Okay.
Network Connects has.
Yes, okay. I'm going to have you briefly review what the existing conditions of the installation is on the roof currently.
Yes, correct. So the existing installation consists of 9 panel antennas and 9 remote radio head units. The scope of work we're proposing is to remove those 9 panel antennas and those 9 remote radio head units and replacing them with 15 panel antennas and 8 remote radio head units.
And with respect to so a total of 15 proposed antennas is being, would be, if approved favorably this evening, would be constructed with all the equipment that's there now coming down.
Yes, that's correct.
But for this evening, we're seeking the additional 3 that we need for the 4th and last sector being proposed, which is Delta, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And with respect to any other impacts, could you just briefly describe additionally what, any other equipment that's being proposed?
Yeah, sure. Well, that's the majority of the equipment. They're also proposing one OVP box, which is, kind of acts like an electrical surge protector, just to protect the equipment from, power surges, that sort of thing.
And the telco will remain underground?
That's correct.
And no new lighting proposed?
No additional lighting, no additional signage proposed.
No water or sewer service required?
That's correct. No, it's an unmanned facility up on the rooftop.
And currently, we don't have any issue with any noise?
No.
We're not proposing any?
No, proposed equipment won't. I think it makes like a very low electrical hum that you can really only hear when you're,
Up
you know,
there?
up on the rooftop next to the antennas.
And you said it's unmanned. How often is the equipment maintenance maintained?
Verizon Wireless typically has a cell technician visit their sites about once every 3 to 4 weeks, just to take account of the equipment, make sure everything's running correctly. If any minor adjustments need to be taken or minor parts need to be replaced, that's when that would occur.
Okay, and you've had an opportunity to read the board professionals' reports such as fire and the board engineers' report?
You know what? I have not given that a thorough review, but I have
Well, we just went
discussed that
over
one
with regard
yes,
to
correct.
the request for the fire department. We take no issue with regard to those requests.
We can follow any requests needed on that end.
Okay, and the other comment made by the board engineers that we comply with fire safety and construction code, which we have indicated on the plans.
Yes, we will comply with all required health and building codes, all safety, fire, electrical codes. We also have those codes listed on the title sheet of our plans on the bottom left-hand corner.
Okay, great. I have nothing further of this witness.
Are there any members of the board that would like to question the testimony Mr. Minority has provided this evening?
I just have one, since you referenced the board engineer. It also slipped up maybe potential health, increase in health risk because of the increase in number of antennas.
Sure, I'm going to have RF address that, but I'm sure your board attorney can weigh in on this too. You know, case law is pretty well settled that we can't consider health impacts when presenting applications before boards.
Right, this is Rob Pansul, the board attorney. For all board members and the public's sake, I mean, I noticed that reference, the health aspect of these cases is preempted under the federal rules. I think what I'd like to see, and I think you have a radio frequency.
Yes, I do.
Just
He's
on
next.
the need as much as anything.
Absolutely, he's coming up.
And just the confirmation that the site is as it exists. I mean, the expansion part is what we're here.
Sure.
Both aesthetically and for any impact, that there's nothing beyond what's there now. I think that's what we need to establish for the record.
And he's up
Based
next.
on that legally, I can certainly, as the board attorney, make recommendations to the board.
Great, thank you.
They'll go straightforward.
Are there any other board members that would like to question this witness? Hearing none, are there any members of the public that would like to question this witness? Hearing none. Counselor, your next witness?
Absolutely. My next witness is Mr. Andrew Peterson of DBM Engineering.
It was a good question, Mr. McNeil, by the way. I didn't mean to suggest that it wasn't. I mean, I was going to point that out when we started. The reference to the health, it always raises a bit of an issue. Can I ask the witness to swear? Can I ask the witness to swear or affirm that the testimony you provide this evening is the truth and the whole truth?
I do.
And for the record, state and spell your name with your business affiliation.
Andrew, common spelling, Peterson, Peterson. My firm is DBM Engineering. I've been involved in the design of these types of facilities from a radio frequency standpoint for about 25 years. I'm a professional engineer licensed in New Jersey and a handful of surrounding states. I have undergraduate and graduate degrees in electrical engineering, both from Lehigh University. I've testified hundreds of times.
The board will accept his credentials.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Just to confirm, Mr. Peterson, Verizon is licensed by the FCC, correct?
They are.
Okay, and you prepared some exhibits for this evening. Did you want to run through those briefly?
Sure, I did, and I'll refer to a design report that I authored that was not submitted as an exhibit, but can be if need be.
Is that what's on the screen right now?
Yeah, this is, what we're showing on the screen are the existing conditions for the best server coverage. So what that means is the 3 sets of antennas now that are on the existing facility. That existing facility is indicated most central to the exhibit with the target-shaped icon that's labeled Union 3. That's the Verizon name for the existing facility. Those 3 sets of antennas are producing the blue northerly footprint the red southeasterly facing footprint of coverage and the lighter blue westerly facing footprint of coverage that are emanating from that site. The sectors that we call them, the groups of antennas that are existing there, are currently overburdened with traffic. The Verizon Wireless subscribers' demands are not being met. There's a chronic state of exhaustion on the resources there where they just can't handle the demand. So what Verizon is doing is upgrading the existing antennas there, adding the new 5G technology, and also proposing the addition of a fourth set of antennas that's going to face roughly south. So what we're showing on the next screen is the anticipated best server coverage, where now we have that southerly facing set of antennas producing that green, the green shaded footprint, which is emanating roughly south of the site. And you can see it, it doesn't want to work here. But you can see that pie shape of coverage in green, that points generally south from the site. That's the new coverage from the proposed sector. Beyond that, there will be there will be a great improvement in capacity. Oh, thanks. It doesn't seem to work. The laser doesn't want to work on the screen up here. Yeah.
Huh.
Reflecting a little, I don't know. In any case, mouse works, yeah, okay. Sometimes the simplest solution is the one to go for. Yeah, so that's the green sector of newly shaded area that the fourth set of antennas will provide for. So beyond that, there will be an improvement in coverage. So for service, we need capacity and we need coverage. This will greatly improve the capacity, the ability of the site to handle the traffic demand. There will also be an improvement, a slight improvement in in-building coverage in the areas to the south due to the addition of that southerly facing sector. So these improvements will go a long way in adding capacity for Verizon Wireless subscribers in the area.
Good with that?
Yeah.
Okay, and Mr. Peterson, you also prepared, which was also not submitted, but an RF emission study and FCC compliance report. Could you please go through your results of that?
Yeah, and to the question earlier, we are required to demonstrate compliance with the FCC guidelines for human exposure to electromagnetic emissions. Because there is an addition here of some antennas and some additional output from the site, there will be a moderate increase in electromagnetic emissions to the surrounding areas, but nothing that would put this facility into a state of non-compliance. In fact, including the new facility proposed with the fourth sector of antennas and the additional antennas in each of the sectors, the electromagnetic emissions would still be below 3% of the allowable FCC limit at all locations of public access. So we would be compliant by quite a large margin, even assuming a whole host of worst-case assumptions.
Okay, so to summarize, the total maximum emissions level is far below any exposure limits by the federal or state regulations.
That's correct.
I have nothing further of this witness.
Are there any board members that would like to question Mr. Peterson? Hearing none, are
Just
there any members?
note for the record that A3, since that was an additional submission, will use your radio frequency image from the first, I guess if you can get us a copy of that somehow. Or
Absolutely, I can send it
for
over.
A3, and in A4, I'll note your radio frequency report that you actually submitted as well.
Yeah, I'll email it to Tiffany if that's okay, and then I'll
Yeah.
you can forward it over to. Great.
We'll do that A4 for the record.
Okay.
Great.
Just collectively, as you look at that, the realization of these improvements with the antennas, I imagine some of this new technology is a little more condensed, so that the overall image and what we're looking at by a site, is there any additional impact to the area, in your opinion?
As far as from a visual standpoint?
Aesthetics, yeah, and
No, everything is going to remain screened. So the additional equipment still will not be visible from any vantage point.
no change to that with the application here tonight.
That's right.
Thank
And I have my planner here who will confirm that as well.
Are there any members of the public that would like to question the testimony Mr. Peterson has given? Hearing none, Counselor.
Thank you very much. My last witness, Brian Siddell of Siddell Planning and Design.
Ask the witness to swear or affirm that the testimony you provide this evening is the truth and the whole truth.
Yes,
And for the record, just state and spell your name with your business affiliation.
sure. For the record, name is Brian Seidel, B-R-I-A-N. Last name is Seidel, S-E-I-D-E-L. I'm a New Jersey professional planner.
Thank you.
Would you please provide the board with the benefit of your qualifications and experience for the record?
Sure. I have a Bachelor of Science in Landscape Architecture from Temple University. I'm a New Jersey professional planner, American Institute of Certified Planners, and been working in the field of planning since 1997.
The board will accept Mr. Seidel's credentials.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Briefly, a quick overview of the project. The site is located in the NC Neighborhood Core Zoning District. It's generally opposite the Union High School Football Stadium and Education Center. Testimony that you heard earlier was that we were removing 9 antenna and adding 15 to the site. I do think it's important to point out, I believe the original approval was for 9 antenna. There was another application that was submitted for the addition of 3 antenna that were never installed. So we are doing exactly what the engineer said. We are taking down 9, adding 15, but it's really 3 that are being added from a previous application here. The existing installation that's on the property was approved originally as a use variance application, and the second application for adjustments to that were approved as a D2 use variance for an expansion to an existing non-conforming use. So that's what we're here for this evening as well, requesting variance approval of a D2 variance for the expansion of an existing non-conforming use. The wireless communications facilities regulations of the township basically indicate towers and antennas are permitted in the CI, Commercial Industrial Zoning District. I think it's important to point out in the previous resolutions for this property, it was acknowledged that the CI district is well beyond the area of coverage for this site, and therefore the original use variance was warranted because there were no zoning districts that were in close proximity to be able to provide the service to this area. Generally, aside from the zoning district designation, there are provisions in the code that allow and encourage the co-location of antenna on buildings and existing structures. So I do believe it's generally consistent with the zoning regulations. As part of any use variance, as I'm sure the board is familiar, needs to be shown the positive and negative criteria for that application. In this situation, for the positive criteria, the site is particularly suited for the use. It's currently approved for the building. It contains the RF screening for the antenna on the roof of the building. It's been previously approved for wireless communications, and it satisfies the radio frequency coverage needs. It also will advance the purpose of zoning and enhance the general welfare. The courts have determined carrying out the terms of license for wireless carriers. Their FCC license has been determined to satisfy that positive criteria. Additionally, I believe the application will specifically advance purposes of zoning regarding purposes A, by guiding the appropriate use of land, G, by providing space and appropriate locations for a variety of uses, I, by providing desirable visual environment with quality design, especially with the transparent screening and the shielding of the antenna, and M, by reducing the cost of development and encouraging efficient use of land. Regarding negative criteria, no real detriment to the public good or the zoning ordinance. We're basically here for an application to approve the installation for something that's never going to be seen by the general public. The antenna is screened currently by the RF screening shields on the building, and no changes are going to be made that are going to extend the height of the antenna or change that visibility today. It's a generally passive use, no dust, odors, noise, vibrations, heat, or glare. Facility will be built to industry standards, which will be verified through the course of construction permit applications reviewed by the township, and believe utilizing the existing building with the RF transparent screening to shield that antenna is the least intrusive means of providing a service to this area and improving the coverage. No detriment to the zoning plan or zoning ordinance. Again, regulations do encourage use of existing towers, and it's consistent with the approvals granted through the previous resolutions for this building and for this application. Briefly, it's also consistent with the state and federal legislation, as the attorney referenced earlier, consistent with the federal legislation of Section 6409 to encourage fast deployment of these type of facilities, also consistent with New Jersey legislations that waive site plan approval for such installations, provided they are not substantially altering or changing parameters of this facility, and in this situation, we are not substantially changing that. So I do believe the application is consistent with the intent of the zoning district and the previous resolutions. It satisfies the applicant's coverage needs and will provide improved capacity to the network. As you heard from the radio frequency engineer, variance can be granted without detriment to the public good, not impair the zoning plan, zoning ordinance. I believe the criteria are met, and granting the variance is warranted.
Thank you very much. I have nothing further of this witness.
Are there any board members that would like to question the testimony that Mr. Seidel has provided? Are there any board members that would like to comment on this application? Are there any members of the public that would like to question the testimony Mr. Seidel has provided? Hearing none, are there any members of the public that would like to comment on this application? Hearing none, Counselor, would you like to present a summation?
Absolutely, and I'll be brief, Mr. Chair. I want to thank the board for their time in hearing this application. You heard testimony from several experts, from the engineer, RF engineer, and a planner. As shown through the testimony, we're requesting approval of an additional 3 antennas for a total of 15, which will be shielded by the antenna screen that's been testified to. You heard testimony from our engineer regarding the site plan and overall design. You heard testimony from RF confirming the need for the site and that we are well within compliance with FCC guidelines. And you've also heard testimony from our planner regarding the positive benefits of this proposed installation. With respect to this facility, we submit there are no detriments, no traffic, no noise, no vibration, glare, smoke, or odors, or anything. It's a pretty dormant use. Finally, we're going to submit that the applicant has met the statutory criteria for the grant of site plan approval, use variance, and weighing the evidence presented in support of the application and based on the proofs presented to the board, we respectfully request approval of the application and ask that the board grant approval for same as testified to throughout this hearing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Counselor. At this time, we can conference this. Mr. Wiley, would you like to begin this evening?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I think this here application is suited. The site is suited for this here use. It's a good application, and I think the positives outweigh the negatives. I don't really see any negatives. There's no negative impact or detriment to the public, and it's improving the coverage, which is a good thing. So I'm going to vote yes.
Ms. Ricketts.
I'd like to second what Mr. Wiley said in reference to this application. It is a good application. I do like that consideration was taken into effect in reference to the health and that there is a moderate increase, but I do like the fact that, you took that into consideration, so I will vote yes.
Mr. McNeil?
I would agree with my colleagues. In addition, I would like to acknowledge the professionals that presented and defended this application. They did a great job. And I do see no negative impact by approving this application, so I do plan on voting yes.
Mr. Bentavegna?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Based on the testimony tonight, The 3 new antennas will improve the server coverage, which is a positive. It meets all the FCC regulations, so I'll be voting yes tonight.
Mr. Johnson.
In concurrence with my colleagues, I will also be voting yes, Mr. Chairman.
And Ms. Martins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a clean, very straightforward application. The experts did a wonderful job tonight, so I will be voting yes as well.
As for myself, I too believe this is a good, clean application. The installation of the new antennas and the remote radio units will not have a negative impact on the property or the neighboring property owners, and it will increase the capacity of the system, so I too will vote yes for this application. At this time, can I have a motion and a second to grant the application?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board grant the variance applicable to this application, that council is directed to prepare a resolution consistent with the board's decision.
Second motion.
Roll call.
Mr. Wiley?
Yes.
Ms. Martins?
Yes.
Mr. Vegana?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. McNeil?
Yes.
Ms. Ricketts?
Yes.
And Mr. Champy?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening, everybody.
Can I have a
August 28th is
motion?
Our next meeting, we'll have the resolution.
Mr. Chairman, there being no further business coming before the board this evening, I move we adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.